we go. Welcome, everybody. This is our third day and our final day of the Graphic Medicine Summit. I'll share some screens. This is our third comics reading. It's also going to be our busiest one, so hopefully we can squeeze everybody in, but I think we can. I'll share my screen if I can figure out how. Why can't I find that? Oh, there it is. So, like I said, this is the SAW Graphic Medicine Summit, the third comics reading. Some of these slides, this is a 3-day event this is the first time you're here, of exploring graphic medicine. This is what happened on Friday, but I won't linger on this slide. This is what happened yesterday. I won't linger on that slide. But today we also have 2 panels, an exploration of crossing borders and boundaries to access health. What's next for graphic medicine is a sort of look at the future of the field, a workshop with Maureen Burdock in a few hours on doing research, and then a closing talk. The closing talk will be with 2 publishers, the publisher of Street Noise, Liz Francis, and the publisher of Graphic Mundi, Kendra Boileau, and that'll be really cool. So hopefully you can join us for that, and I'll put links to get access to that soon. So we're sponsored by graphicmedicine.org. There's their website and information about that. Also, the awards happened last night, and hopefully they'll be posting about who won what if you're interested in that. SAW has an online year-long comics program if you're interested. We also have tons of other programs, but that's the one we're hyping right now. It's a really great program that happens once a year. It's about 9 months long and has had great outcomes so far. So if you're interested, go to sawcomics.org and find out more. But we also have a smaller medicine and memoir group where people get together, and there's some events and some publishing opportunities and workshops and things like that. That happens at sawcomics.org. You can find that as well. Okay, thanks for donating if you donated. And just thanks in general. We're going to get started. I always forget how to stop share. Okay, so what I'm going to do is a couple different things. First of all, I'm going to make sure that everybody has the option to share. We have 7 readers, and I have your bios in the, I'm prepared to put your bios in the chat, and because that's a lot of readers, I won't give a long introduction. In fact, maybe no introduction at all. I'll just say, Lynn, you're up, or something like that. But I will put that list again in the chat right now, and then when everybody goes, we will, I'll put your bios in the chat too, and you're welcome also to tell us what your links are and books you have out and things like that. We're really excited that everybody's here. So Lynn, you're up. You've been working on a graphic memoir for a long time. I'm going to put you, like I said, I'm going to put your
stick it in the chat.
Actually, yeah. It's a really short bio, Lynn.
It's okay. Just put it in the chat. I think I sort of do it. I pretty much repeat it in the
great
intro.
I'm going to spotlight you, but also you can share your screen.
I'm going to share my screen. Thank you. Okay, let's do this thing. Okay, just a second. Slideshow. All right. All right. I'm going to read an excerpt from a book that I've been working on with my husband called Manic, the Full Deck Production. It's a memoir about the manic episode he had when our son was 5 years old. And we wrote it in alternating sections, mine in comics, his in prose. This section takes place towards the end of the memoir. It's, let me see, let me get rid of this. With good medication and the help of Janice, our couples therapist, Jonathan at this point was well on his way to his road to recovery. You'll know at this point, you'll have read previously in the memoir that I was a photo editor at a magazine, and that when Jonathan sunk into the inevitable depression that follows the manic episode, I had an affair with an editor at work, which he didn't know about at this point. And it was my turn, now that he was on the road to recovery, to dress and recover from my own trauma of the experience. Just a little heads up. This part is actually kind of a comic, sort of a sort of funny. It's sort of supposed to be. You can laugh, basically, is what I'm giving you permission to do. July 1998, Jonathan went to Germany. We agreed that I would continue to see Janice on my own once or twice while he was away. This is Janice. How are you doing? Well, better now that Jonathan helps around the house. We have fun on our Friday night dates. Our sex life is meh. The thing is, whenever he has a burst of exuberance or laughs too loud, I freeze up. I pull back. I panic inside. I'm like a soldier all fired up for combat, but there's no battle. I guess you'd call it PTSD. Makes sense. This has been very traumatic, and you don't have a therapist of your own. I've seen 3. They were all disasters. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Can you recommend anyone I can talk to about the affair who's as good as you are? Yeah, I think you'd like Eileen a lot. I liked her right away. I told her everything I could in our first session. You've had a lot on your plate. What is your history with therapy? Sordid. I feel like a failed therapand. Tell me about that. Well, my first therapist, Terry, had me bring my nursing baby to an all-day group session. The other clients had strong feelings about it. Terry was silent. Why would you think it was a good idea to bring an infant here? I actually didn't. Terry said, did you even tell him? I didn't come here to talk about babies. Hey, I didn't think this was a right. You didn't think. Terry? Do I really have to have motherhood shoved in my face? The next therapist was Marion, who was chronically late to our morning sessions, which she would interrupt for 10 minutes to walk her dog. Once, she filled the office with her kitschy poster-sized photos of flowers. She wanted my professional opinion. I get paid for my professional opinions. I'm so done here. I have to leave home at 6:30 to get here by 8, and you're always late, and you live upstairs. So, no, I don't want makeups. You should have been on time. And get a dog sitter. Dr. Haim's ideas were weird. He was rather troll-like. He listened to me talk. I looked at the little paintings on his walls when he spoke. It was a respite. Jonathan's arthritis is not physical. He's repressing childhood feelings. You never even met Jonathan. I think you have feelings for me that you've transferred to your lover. Say what? One day, he just disappeared. Weeks later, his wife called to apologize. She had forgotten to let me know he died. I'm impressed that you're willing to try again. Really? I feel like damaged goods, like I'm a serial therapist seeker who can't stick to a therapist. What happened is not your fault. She didn't blame me for failing therapy. I was sold. That's it. So you can find me online if you're interested. I Lynn here and there, although I haven't been publishing much of the memoir there, just sketches and things. And on Facebook at Lynn Bernstein. I have a website, Studio Lynn Bernstein, and I set up something on Mixum to, I could stop sharing. Oops, hold on a second. Where's the Zoom screen? Here we go. I set up something on Mixum for some of the zines that I've published in the course of the SAW workshops. So I'll get that posted. I'll put it
Yeah,
online later.
put those links in the chat. When you say something at Mixum, that means that we can go there and
Yeah.
order.
Order on demand. I haven't quite figured out how to post those links or how to get them, but when I do, I'll put them somewhere in my network.
We'd certainly be
Great.
interested in that. And post the other links in the chat because they weren't in my file.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Yep.
We'll go to Sonaksha next. Are you ready, Sonaksha?
Yes.
Awesome. I will spotlight you and I'll put your bio that we have in the chat as well.
Okay, I'm just gonna share my screen. Okay. Cool. A soft landing place, exploring disability justice in India. I want to dedicate this particular reading to Patty Byrne, a disability justice leader and co-founder of Sins Invalid, who joined our ancestors on May 29th this year. Patty's work has been transformational and changed so many of our lives forevermore. So yeah, this one's for Patty. The first time I remember feeling sad about being sick was when I was 5. I didn't want to be in bed anymore. I wanted to be in class, eating lunch with friends, listening to stories. Years later, most of my days, like of many other disabled people, still center around my bed and a bouquet of heating pads. But now we have somewhat of a love story. Everything else feels too prickly and coarse when your body is screaming with pain and falling apart. I'm not sure why they call it an invisible illness. Maybe it's because for the rest of your life, you will sit at doctors' offices in front of their doors, pleading to just be seen and heard, only to be told it's not real. Or maybe it's an invisible illness because you're expected to shrink yourself to be in the world. Don't occupy any space here. For many years, I didn't have the language to articulate my body, its crumbling, and the way it felt to stagger through the world. I spent hours writing poems about feeling isolated when my migraines wouldn't leave. I drew about staggering through the world depersonalized. I cried about waking up with my face on fire and then felt embarrassed about not having a good enough morning routine. But thanks to endless internet deep dives during pain flare-ups, I came across so many sick and disabled people talking, sharing, being, and crying together. I didn't know this then, but one thing opened up into another, and soon it felt like I'd found the map to a glorious garden. Finding disability justice turned my most arid days into a blooming summer. And on days that I was sinking, which were so many, a soft landing place appeared. A disability justice framework understands that all bodies are unique and essential. All bodies have strengths and needs that must be met. We are powerful not despite the complexities of our bodies, but because of them. All bodies are confided by ability, race, gender, sexuality, class, nation state, religion, and more. And we cannot separate them. Patty Byrne, Sins Invalid, a disability justice-based performances project. Many years before I'd found disability justice, I'd stumbled into the feminist movement. And in many ways, it saved me. It was the first time I'd experienced the power of solidarity, youth leadership, and collective transformation. But it felt like there were a few missing pieces. When I came to disability justice, I'd already realized the power of social movements, the ways in which we struggle, celebrate, hold each other, and through it all, keep moving together. But I was dreaming of more. Disabled people are always made to feel like they're too much. And growing up, most of us learn that disability is sad and undesirable. Disabled lives are seen as something to overcome, something we shouldn't want to be. We rarely learn about our disabled elders and ancestors, and even if we do, it's under the guise of cures and inspiration porn. But what we long to know about are the ways that they've paved the way with their generosity, ideas, and work towards the pursuit of creating disabled futures, like Mama Cax, Kiran Nayak, Malini Chib, and Harriet McBride Johnson. While the disability rights movement has done important and historical work in advancing the rights of people with disabilities, its framework does not include various forms of oppression. Like Patty Byrne, the founder of Sins Invalid, says, it centers people with mobility impairments, marginalizing other forms of impairment, and centers people who can achieve rights and access through a legal or rights-based framework. And the important question is, who does this leave out, and how many of us does it invisibilize? In response to this, disability activists of color, Patty Byrne, Mia Mingus, Stacey Milburn, Leroy Moore, Ellie Clare, and Sebastian Margaret began discussing a second wave of disability rights and launched a framework that they call Disability Justice. 10 Principles of Disability Justice: intersectionality, leadership of those most affected, anti-capitalist politics, cross-movement solidarity, recognizing wholeness, sustainability, commitment to cross-disability solidarity, interdependence, collective access, and collective liberation. Finding the language of disability justice was affirming in the ways that it drew upon legacies of resistance. It celebrates the work largely done by individuals within their own settings, but also highlights the importance of the leadership of queer and disabled people of color. But I was kind of aching to find something closer to home. While the disability rights movement in India has a rich history, the disability justice movement is still in its nascent stages. Discrimination and inequity cannot be understood by a single axis of identity. In India particularly, this also means evaluating the way experiences are varied across caste and class lines, in addition to gender, sexuality, religion, race, and ability. And so, the emergence of disability justice on the path to liberation is crucial. So with a map to the glorious garden in my hand, I wandered through nooks, crannies, and fragments of erased histories, exploring sparks of the slow and steady building of a disability justice movement in India. This was an excerpt from the larger comic, and you can read the full comic on my website, sonaksha.com, or you can find me on Instagram @Sonaksha. Thank you so much for listening.
Oh, thank you, Sonaksha. That was marvelous. My gosh. And the chat is loving it. So please spend some time in the chat engaging with your fans. And again, please put your links in the chat as well, everybody, so that people can follow you, find your books, and things like that. Really marvelous. Thank you. Let me see what we said our next reader was. I think our next reader is a pair. Elly and Zsuzsa, is that right? Are you reading together? Because I can spotlight you both together. Okay, give me a second to do that. And I'll put your, oops. And does that do it? There we go. And I'll put your bios in the chat too. And you have some links that we, there we go. Welcome.
So today, good morning, everyone. We're going to read from our new collaborative effort, A Tale of Two Surrogates, a graphic narrative on assisted reproduction based on our scholarship. And the chapter we're going to read is going to be on a more directly medical issue, embryo transfer. Okay, next. Okay, so the main characters are, one of the surrogates, Jen in California, and her husband, Mike, and her 3 children, and the intended parents are Anne and Tom from Northern California. And we represent the surrogates on an online support forum that Jen is corresponding with and is getting advice from and comparing notes with as the Greek chorus of surrogates. So chapter 8, transfer. So Jen is crossing off the days until the date of the embryo transfer. And because she is getting her husband's help with the shots, she's calling out to him, honey, it's time for my progesterone shots.
Squirt ready?
It's like I'm growing baseballs and it swells up that bad.
Embryo transfer day.
For Yuen, it's a horseshoe keyring for good luck.
Oh, thanks, Jen. Sorry I didn't bring you a gift.
No worries. How was the drive?
We got here in exactly 6 hours. It's really smooth sailing in the Porsche. We were surprised that there was not more traffic. It's lucky we can drive here and back in a day. A friend of mine who lives in New York found a surrogate in Kansas. She had to fly to the East Coast for the embryo transfer.
I know many of the Suros I met online have to fly to another state for the transfer, and most of their intended parents are long distance too.
Flying to the transfer was kind of strange and stressful for me. I had a bag full of meds with me, and it was so busy at the airport, I thought I'd miss my flight. I had to fly to Oregon for my first transfer, and my intended parents couldn't come because they live in Spain. I was alone because my husband had to stay home with the kids. It was tough without any support. I flew all the way to the clinic last month, and in the end, there was a problem with the embryos, and the transfer had to be rescheduled. But my sister came with me, so at least we had fun together. Reproductive endocrinologist office. All is clear for transfer. The lining of the uterus looks nice and thick. This is our last batch of frozen embryos, and all 3 survived the thaw. These babies are fighters. Since only one is good quality, we could transfer all 3. There's only a 2% chance of multifetal pregnancy in such cases. Please, Jen, can we transfer all 3? I want to give them a chance.
I really...
Please, Jen, we'll be doing this together, giving them a chance to grow.
I don't really... I guess... But what if all 3 embryos stick? But 2 of them are poor quality. But they deserve a chance.
Hun, if you didn't want to transfer more than 2, you should have stood firm. It's your body. It happened to me too, so I get it. My intended mother cried, and the doc talked about statistics and chances, and you so want to get preggo for them. So I'm not criticizing you. I wish you luck. Jen, maybe I'll get preggo with twins. I did that, and all turned out fine. A week later, how many tests did you buy? Jenny, that's great, but wait for the blood test before you tell them the good news.
How am I going to keep this a secret for 5 more days?
Don't call your intended mother yet. I made that mistake, and then the beta was negative. I also wanted to tell my intended mother as soon as I saw the positive, and it worked out fine. They would have used home pregnancy tests too had they been able to get preggo on their own. 2 hours later, a text from Jen to Anne.
We did it. We are pregnant. I used a dozen home pregnancy tests and they're all positive.
5 days later, Jen calls Anne.
I got the blood test results and we're definitely pregnant. I'm so sorry you couldn't be there, but I took some pictures.
Dear
Dear
Anne, you say.
Dear Anne and Tom, congratulations. Your little one is in safe hands. See you soon, Jen and Mike.
To Jen and Mike, happy Valentine from Anne and Tom.
the week 7 ultrasound. Oh my God, twins! I am going to give them their whole family. This is what they wanted. Hi, Anne. Update time. Week 8 starts today. The babies are now the size of blueberries.
Week 9. Here we are. 2 heartbeats.
Anne and Tom really wanted to be here, but they both have to work today.
Week 10.
Mike, it hurts.
What?
I don't understand what went wrong. I did everything I was supposed to do. They trusted me, and I'm letting them down. Anne will be so upset. I can't believe I have to tell her that her hopes are crushed again.
Jen, later at home.
I'm devastated. We lost the twins. My intended mother asked if I did any lifting or housework that might have caused it. Did this happen to anyone being sort of questioned like this?
My intended mother blamed me too, but it's not your fault. If housework caused miscarriages, we wouldn't need abortions. They're just upset. They've been through so much. They are just so traumatized by all their losses. Later.
Reading other Suros posts online, I realized that intended parents are so fragile. They've been through so much, and any new loss is just so much more devastating.
Jenny, okay, but they need to be considerate. They are a bit selfish, don't you think? Shouldn't loss also teach people to have empathy? They must see how much you're trying to help them. Text from Anne to Jen. Could you ask Dr. Chang when we can cycle again? I need to be able to plan.
I've just got to be patient and understanding.
Patience. Please join us for the Graphic Medicine Comics and Care Collective Book Club discussion of A Tale of Two Surrogates on August 11th at 7 p.m. Pacific. And I'll put the Zoom registration in the chat. Thank you.
Wow, yeah, definitely put that in the chat. Thank you. I think people would really want to read that. That was so powerful. Oops, I want to remove spotlight on y'all. Hang on a second. There we go. Wow, you know, we're getting so many stories of in Sonaksha's terminology, invisible illnesses, right? Things that we really don't really know much about, and they're just hidden right below the surface. So thank you for that glimpse at that. Okay, we have Sumit next. How are you over there? Let's see if I can get you spotlit, and I'll put your bio in the chat.
Yeah.
Hi, Sumit.
Hey, hi everybody. Wait, I'll quickly share my screen.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. Am I visible?
Yeah, we
Okay.
yep, the title. Yep.
Okay. So this is my comic. It's called Jhaag Achhe Hain. It translates to Foaming is Good. It's about my experiences with epilepsy. Why this title? Because foaming is good is also a slogan for a washing powder here in India. So I just took that line. 2011, I had my first seizure in 2011. I was 22. There was just me and another colleague in the office. He had stayed behind to play this game. I had just inked the last page of my debut graphic novel, The Itch You Can't Scratch. I had been sleeping 3 to 4 hours every day for a month now, while doing my full-time job. Anyhow, the first seizure was here. Later, colleague who was in office till late because he was playing tank wars. my sister, Adhiraj, my friend, Dr. Guddu, another friend. When I woke up, I felt drunk and also slightly ashamed. And to hide that, I kept making stupid jokes. It's important that now I mention the list of abuses I do. Daru means drinking. Joint. I never keep it, but would never say no to a puff. Uh, eh, Bhang. Bhang is a local drug. LSD. I was planning to try, even got in touch with someone, but even before I could, God gave me a natural trip. Seizure. Later at the doctor's, emotionless neurologist. It could be epilepsy. And my parents are wondering, so in India, when you get epilepsy, they call it Mata Jana, meaning, that you've been possessed by gods. But how does the seizure happen? The doctor explains, this is your son's brain. It's usually normal. And the brain is sort of saying namaste to my parents. But sometimes something happens to it, the neurological activity just jumps, and the brain has bitten my mother's hand off. At this moment, the person having the seizure does not know what's happening. For them, it's a blur. Seizure can be caused by brain trauma, drug use, low blood sugar, low oxygen levels. But if we can't find a reason for the seizure even after running tests, which is your son's case, EEG, MRI couldn't find anything. He has epilepsy, nobody knows the reason for it. There is no cure, no reason. And my brain is apologizing. Sorry, uncle, sorry, auntie. The medicine, as long as he takes it, no seizure. One has to live with epilepsy. No reason, no cure. He has to take these meds for the next 3 years. He can't drive. If he gets a seizure while driving, just imagine. For the same reasons, he can't swim. He can't deep fry pakoras. He has to avoid looking at shiny lights and 8 hours of undisturbed sleep every day. As soon as we got out of the hospital, super costly, super specialty hospital. My father is saying, tell the relatives that you just fainted. And my mother is saying, I don't know, what should I tell them? After all of that, I felt I had just escaped death. I thought I should spend. I went to this showroom with a friend and bought the costliest pair of Ray-Ban Wayfarers. As soon as I swung my Nehru jacket in style, crack, I broke my shoulder. And then an ambulance came. And now I had to wear this arm support band on my right arm, thanks to which finally my book was complete because I couldn't draw anymore. I was suddenly free and started to smoke to fill up the time. Shoulder pain comes free with seizures, and I partied like crazy. First time I went to a proper disco pub. Like any good patient, I stopped taking the medicines that I was to take for 3 years. I was back in my old ways, less sleep, more work, overthinking, burning out. I was smoking joints and drinking. During this time, I did more book-length work, really intense. I also got married. We started dating just after my first seizure. She knew about it. In 2014, I also left full-time cartooning to work on an idea job at an ad agency. My second book was published just a few weeks after my marriage. I had to sell it. Pressure was on. 2015, 9 p.m., outside office. Moon is cuffing. I'm married and a rich intern. I had no idea the stress my brain was under. It's thinking about money, it's thinking about full-time cartooning, it's thinking about the book, and it's sweating. And suddenly, I'm not on medication. It goes all the way up. And my colleagues are laughing. They're thinking I'm joking. And soon these innocent coworkers were pissing their pants. Somebody's saying, make him smell a shoe. Somebody's thinking he's going to die. And another person is finding the person who gave me the joint. And one colleague is saying, at least, as I hope he doesn't die in the office. I can just not imagine what my girlfriend, now wife, was going through. My colleague calls my wife and she says, fuck yes, he had a seizure in 2011. But again, my beautiful wife, Pritika, I can only imagine what must have been going on in her head. She's in the shopping alley buying a husband, looking at different cans. She chooses one cartoonist can for husband, and when she checks the label, there's manufacturing defect, and there are no refunds. And I'm telling her this joke as soon as I'm out of my seizure. And they say, you can go now. We visited the doctor again, and he said the same thing again. 8 hours sleep, 3-year meds, no driving, swimming, blah, blah, blah. I also got a week off from the office. The last day of my leave was a colleague's marriage. Me and my wife went and attended it, so I took the next day off too. That night, initial days of marriage, we were still living with parents. This I remember, and the next thing I don't remember. And I just saw my father, he's saying, don't worry, nothing has happened. And the doctor says seizure, but it was severe this time. Now I realized how my seizure affects others. My brain is still fuzzy, and there's a little bit of foam at my mouth, and I bit my tongue hard. It has left a mark, and I've dislocated my arm again. Pain always stays back after an attack, but this time it was horrible. It felt like just the worst pain you can imagine. But this time I had been taking the medicine, but I was taking it slightly wrong. This was also the time I told my first proper seizure joke. Seizure the moment. Doctor is not impressed. Now please keep the line moving. Also, by now I had a good assortment of seizure jokes. I have had so many seizure episodes, it should be called a season. Jhagache. This one is in Hindi, I can't translate. Any size, if you buy anything for me, it fits. Julius Caesar. Did you know Julius Caesar had epilepsy? And I'm telling these jokes to one of my colleagues when this girl comes from behind. She asks me, can you spare a second? I said, sure. And when I went outside, she says, I too have epilepsy. I had my first episode when I was 6. I was told to not tell anyone about it. Relatives were the number one concern. It has always been a matter of shame. And that's why I don't tell this at interviews. I'm sure they would not hire me. Yeah, sure, no problem. Global values, equal workplace, blah, blah, blah. But the HR is sweating. I remembered my own biases. A neighbor of mine once had a seizure, and I used to look at him weird all through my childhood. But the way you joke about seizure and epilepsy, it lightens the subject. However repetitive, your jokes are welcome. And I am like, what can I say? Ha ha ha, 100% ego feed. You also have an amazing jawline and perfect Aryan body. And it's not because it's your comic and you can draw me saying anything you want. More epilepsy patients started telling me their stories. I realized how common it is. I was in seizure land. When I was 6, I take 1 gram. How much Levipil do you take? Make an emergency card. So I made an emergency card also. My friends were having their first attacks, and I was calling them newbies. Even I didn't stop having seizures and the medicines I was taking. These medicines are costly. They cost 500 rupees a week. I don't know how much would be in dollars. But I left cartooning. I left my job to do full-time cartooning. And then I had a seizure at my home studio. And then I told my interns what to do when I have it. And then I had it again. And the result was I changed my doctor again. And this doctor at least smiles. He changed my medicine again. And I made this comic. Quick note, I just wanted to check if the medicine is so costly for poor epileptic patients. I found out that in India, government sells generic versions of all medicines at government hospital and dispensaries. These are called generosity centers. For the purpose of research, I went to one such shop at a local government hospital and I bought my medicine. My number came in 2 minutes, and the same medicine that would cost me for 2 weeks, I got a whole month worth of medicine. Quick note, I just wanted to check. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, this repeated itself. Oh. Yeah, and like all parties in power, I basically they publish their party name behind the medicine. So this little orange words are the name of the party in power. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Awesome, Sumit. Thank you. Let's see.
Oh, 1 second.
What in the interest of not keeping these things invisible, that was really familiar to me because I have the same experience and I take the same medicine. I noticed.
Yeah, we spoke about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And have you not had a seizure since 2018? Is that what you said in the or was that just storytelling? You don't need to tell us, I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, I haven't had I couldn't hear you. What did you say?
Your presentation said the last seizure was 2018. I just wondered if there had been others since then, but I'm being overly personal.
Yeah, I think I had my last one in 2021. I broke my teeth here.
Well, thanks for telling that story, and thanks for the humor. What a great character you make. Okay, our next reader will be Circle Yuen, and let me pull up their bio there and find Circle. There you are, and I will spotlight you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Share. Okay, welcome. And your
Thank
bio
you.
is in the chat.
Yeah, hello everyone. It's very lovely to be here and prepare my personal project that's called The Hiding Kite. I would like to share the screen now.
Mhm.
Okay. Can you see my screen? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get started. Hiding Kite, a story about a family storm. Oh, sorry. Sometimes the dark cloud would come into my home. And Daddy would chase after Mommy. Let's play hide and seek. Now, go and hide. Don't let Daddy catch you, Mommy says. Mommy, why don't you hide? I ask. Mommy, run away. I will find you. Little, I go to stay at Mommy's grandma's house, and she tells me that Daddy is not feeling well. The dark cloud is gone, and Daddy is not angry anymore. But I don't know where Mommy is hiding. Maybe she's hiding under the ground, running with the train. Maybe she's hiding in the water and swimming with me in the bathtub. Maybe she's hiding in the clouds and flying with my kite. She went so far away. I haven't seen her for a long time. Has she forgotten me? If you see her, then don't forget to offer her a tissue and give her a cuddle. If a tissue isn't going to cover a large wound, then give her a plaster. It will be over soon. Don't cry. So this story began during my MA studies a few years ago. At the time, drawing directly felt too close for expressing difficult memories. I found printmaking, which is a dry point technique, as an indirect way of image making process. At least 2 steps for making an image. Helped slow things down and gave me space to work through emotions safely. I hope the hiding kite brings a sense of connection to anyone going through a difficult time. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Circle. Did you say that was dry point? Can you explain that a tiny bit more for people that might not know what that is?
Actually, which is like how to say, you have a first plate and then you put the ink and then you have cutters that you can crash for different texture and line, and then after that you put it in the pre-making and then you just go through the surface with the paper. So that is 2 steps that I found, which is give me the distance to make through the image making process. Yeah, and also I found that if you like limit the space, that means I draw very large at pass, but I try to limit my panels and limit my papers, so that make me more like safe in the making process. So that is my finding in this few years. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And if there's a link to buy your book, please put that in the chat, or even see other artwork by you. That would be great. And that's,
Yeah, I will put the website. Yeah. Thank you.
okay. And that goes for everybody. Let's see. We will find our next reader. I think Ankit is our next reader, so I will put Ankit's bio in the chat and spotlight you once I find you in the grid. There we go. Hi, Ankit. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Hey, folks. It's an absolute joy to be here. So I'm an internal medicine physician. I work as a hospitalist. And this particular piece that was published in Annals, it's sort of an ode to hospital hallways. I feel like life is so much in rush, and there's so much of so many human experiences that fall into the periphery of my vision. So this is sort of an ode to that. A hospital bears witness to a myriad human experiences. Like a kaleidoscope, it holds pain, fear, fragility, rage, grief, joy, and hope, bringing us in our shared humanity. It is a place where compassion and care meet curiosity and commitment. I'm sorry, part of my screen is getting cut for me. Okay. Pervasive uncertainty ushers self-doubt. As the privilege of caring comes with the weight of expectations. Sputtering flames and the cold gaze of death is met with defiance and determination. But it leaves scars. As some search for meaning in the suffering and bleakness, wrinkled hopes and shattered dreams bring sleepless nights for others. But sometimes, random acts of kindness carry the light, prying open the darkness. Overwhelmed with grief, some are left unconsoled, while others wait, blazed in apprehension. So much longing and love can be packed in tiny parcels. Unbridled joy and frenzied delights lurk round the corner, while a long, dim road ends for some. For others, it is the beginning of a new one as they await dawn. It just comes together with this 2-page. Am I done here, Tom, or can I present the second one as well?
Yeah, you can present the second one. We have time for that. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much. So the second piece I'm going to present was published in Tema, and it's about the burnout in healthcare workers in United States. So it's a very specific story about U.S. healthcare and the flaws and what have you, and how COVID has compounded it. And the only background I think you need to know is the current rate of burnout amongst physicians in U.S. is about 65%. So I mean has reached a crisis level. And these panels are inspired by Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel. It's called The Last Judgment. The Last Judgment. Being a clinician means committing to protect human dignity and allay suffering. Clinician burnout is an existential crisis. It threatens the core tenets of caregiving. Burnout is a systemic problem. It is driven by interlinking societal, political, and cultural narratives that in turn shapes the elements of our healthcare system. Burnout is a symptom of the insidious malaise of America's broken healthcare system. It is not a personal failing. It is a bellwether, an opening gong of an impending doom. When a nation's healthcare system is driven by the ethos of greed, it permeates the deepest recesses. It is the fundamental cause for the fracture between mission and motivation. Decades of underinvestment in public health, widening health disparities, anemic social safety nets, and structural racism compound moral injury. Politicization of science and public health, eroding trust, health misinformation, and deep societal divisions have created a toxic milieu, plundering clinicians' morale. Convoluted reimbursement models and Kafkaesque billing systems set by insurers create crushing administrative burdens. The electronic health record, EHR, has turned out to be an albatross around clinicians' necks, weighing us down with clerical load. In an epic failure, EHR has led to a dramatic fall in the time spent at the bedside. As healthcare systems face oscillating headwinds and troubling financial trends, regulatory burdens see a downstream transfer to clinicians. That's page number 1. A demoralized, disillusioned workforce with a dwindling faith in the mission may cause our system to implode from within. The moment to give the verdict of the last judgment is upon us. We need to resurrect the spirit and soul of healthcare. We need a new imagination, a renaissance. This bellow echoes with a call for a fundamental reorganization, a structural change at all levels in American healthcare. Government can usher change by creating policies and effective regulations. Insurers must be transparent and reimbursement models simplified in partnership with delivery organizations. Structural perversities in our system must be eliminated, inequities and health disparities addressed, and social safety nets bolstered. We should create equity-centered infrastructure that is enduring. Healthcare organizations can focus on empowering clinicians by instituting workplace policies that affect job demands and resources, along with building flexibility and autonomy in practice. Concerted efforts can be made to reduce clerical burdens. Organizations can commit to the mission of rebuilding trust in the communities they serve. Genuine efforts to collaborate and deepen bonds can be key steps in mitigating disparities, biases, and combat misinformation. And lastly, at the grassroots level, we can strive to live our values every day. Driven by empathy, compassion, and connectedness, we can infuse joy, purpose, and meaning in our work. We can nurture peer connections, champion mentorship, and most vitally, support the rising generation to retain the awe, beauty, and wonder of caregiving. Thank you.
Thank you, Ankit. Wow. It's so simple, right? Like, let's get to work. Oh,
Work.
no, it's just we're in such rough shape, and that is such a elegant way to frame it all. And now, but boy, why are we here? Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry. I think everyone feels that really hard, you know, the troubles with our and American and other healthcare delivery systems as well. Thank you so much for showing that.
Thank you, Don.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Sure. Okay, I think we'll go to Faye next. Faye's our last reader. And Faye, I've got your bio up here. Pretty sure. Yeah. Are you ready?
Yes.
Awesome.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to read a short comic that is a bit abstract, and it's essentially about the difficulty of being a patient and the difficulty of being a medical professional in the emergency room, which is a pretty absurd place. Okay, so I'm going to start. There's some silent frames at first. Admit 1, emergency room. Welcome to the circus. The show is about to begin. Jump through these hoops and we can start. We'll be your doctors. I'm your nurse. Full house today. Don't worry, these are trained professionals, the best of the best. Our fearless physicians will perform the most amazing, death-defying acts ever witnessed. My knee, my head, my eyes. Thank you, but head not right, eyes not right, eyes not right. Is it working? No. We want you to feel better. I think I feel worse. We will do everything we can. We will use our finest technology. And now we have looked inside your brain and we have the results. It's brain damage. Will I be okay? Well, try these. If they don't work, you can always come back another night. Well, that's all, folks. Hope you enjoyed the show. And that's the end. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Wow, thanks, Faye.
Thank you so much.
I love that we saw yours and Ankit's
Yeah.
back, you know, so we get the heavy-heartedness of the medical and the absolute circus of the patient's point of view, you know. Really wonderful to see that. Can you tell us a moment what a soft sculpture is when you said
I make sculptures out of felt that are stuffed so that people can like touch them and move them around.
Oh,
does that make sense?
So, like just kind of stuffies?
Kind of, yeah, but just more in abstract shapes.
Uh-huh. And so you hand them over to somebody, or do they come to
I can use them, like I can just hang them as set pieces like in a gallery, and then I also sometimes have like tables set up with pieces that people can move around and make their own kind of temporary sculptures with, so I can kind of, it's like a way of collaborating with them even though I'm not there.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thanks. We've got about 5 minutes for some conversation if anyone would like to raise a question or say anything in response. I don't feel like just leaving these 6 great presentations hanging there and disappearing is the right thing to do. I found that these were really profound, and what's happening in graphic medicine in general, where people are making what's invisible visible, and it's not that simple, right? But sharing when it's so complicated and it is invisible, right? Like our own relationship to our bodies and our mental health has been so hidden away for so long, and in some ways shamed and things like that. Sumit, what do you want to say?
I just wanted to say, Dr. Ankit, great comic there. And you have entered my territory of making comics. So in revenge, I'm going to go and do medicine.
In revenge. So watch out for the square-headed doctor coming near you. Amanda, go ahead.
Yeah, Dr. Ankit, I think I've always been interested in the professional side of comic making because it is kind of like an interesting space where you have the capability to be like the authorial voice that's already there because you have the title doctor, but then like the artwork you've created is just such a bridge to like this relationship between, like I've read recently that like the word relationship between a doctor and a patient isn't correct. It's because it's like not that actually like relationship, like it's more of like a dyad. But I think that like what you've done is you've put the relationship back. And I know that's not really a question. I guess to make it a question, what inspired you to model it after Michelangelo? Because I think just the form of it is stunning.
Gosh, thank you so much, Amanda. That's very kind of you. And thank you, Sumit. Challenge accepted. Dr. Sumit Kumar. Yeah, Amanda, I would first like claim not to be an artist in any way. My foray into graphic medicine, I find that, you know, I could write an editorial about or a perspective piece about burnout and it wouldn't go anywhere. And I find that there's such an economy to this visual language. When you just pair words with images, it does something extraordinary. And I feel when I read other people's work, it just, I can viscerally feel it. And that's the beauty of the graphic works. And yeah, so I had written a large screed on burnout. And I mean, there are thousands of pieces out there that doesn't go anywhere. And what inspired me to do this was primarily as an educator. You know, when I work with medical students and residents, it breaks my heart that within 3 to 4 months of these incredibly bright, very mission-driven folks come into the system, and in 3 to 4, 6 months, I meet them and they are already very cynical and they are burnt out. And so I don't know, I think this was a response, and this was the best way I felt that I could articulate. And I've been obsessed with Michelangelo for many years, so I just kind of found my way. So thank you so much.
That's a true artist statement where you have a lot that you've been wanting to say, et cetera, and you're like, and also I've been obsessed with this thing, and I just needed to put them together. You know, that happens a lot. Thanks for doing that. And wow, yeah, you mentioned a burnout rate of 65%. Is that a sort of informal poll of people just saying, yeah, I'm burned out, or is there a level?
These are scale studies and surveys that people have done. And in fact, this was data before pandemic. So we're waiting on the data. One of the studies that came out in JAMA after, I think in 22, it was 1 out of 5 physicians plan to leave their job. So, I mean, I think we are going to somehow reach a crisis level. And then I think we're always good at reacting things rather than proactively being heed to the problem. And, you know,
I'm not sure if we're good at reacting to things either, not in our system anyway, but we certainly don't pre-act, if that's the word. Yeah, thank you for that. And you say that's 1 in 5 doctors. It's probably higher for nurses, I imagine. Yeah. Do y'all know the Theater of War? I'll go online really fast. This is a very informal way to sort of here we go. Hang on a second. This isn't graphic medicine, but it's art and medicine. So I'll show it really fast. I find it really fascinating. It's Theater of War they started off, they do Greek plays mostly. They do classic plays, and they do it for populations that are suffering through some sort of crisis. It started as a way to help soldiers returning from overseas and trying to process trauma, and they would do Greek plays from Sophocles, Aeschylus, a couple others. But they've branched out in the past 10 years, and they do a lot for nurses and caregivers. And I'm looking for the ones, oh, we can probably find it here. War and caregiving and death, but maybe let's just click that one really fast. Yeah, they call it the Frontline. And so there's not a lot on their website, but they're really profound presentations if you can find some online. I'm not exactly seeing what they do, but they do some of these abridged adaptations of plays are maybe like 30 minutes long at the most, and then they have like hour-and-a-half conversations with the people in the audience, and it's nurses and doctors and patients and things like that, and it's been really powerful. So if you're anybody's inclination is towards theater as well, go check them out. Thank you, everybody. Any other last thoughts? Because I know Sumit's got some studying of medical texts to do, so we'll sign off. Okay, well, I'm going to put in the chat one last time. The next event in the Graphic Medicine Summit is Bees Over the Berlin Wall, which is a panel discussion about crossing boundaries and crossing borders and sort of reaching across borders that exist or in reality, or maybe just in our own minds. And the panel discussion will be about that. Also, Kevin is putting some links in the chat as well. There are 400 books. Kevin, do you want to come on and tell us about that? Awaiting review. I don't know if Kevin wants to come on screen or not, but that's quite a lot of books. Are you asking us to review?
Yeah, hi. I'm the book review editor at graphicmedicine.org, and I just wanted to make people aware that we're always looking for book reviewers, and and I gave a link to it, there are over 400 books that are awaiting review, and over 600 books that have been reviewed. That you can, and there's a link for that as well, that you can go to the website. I provided my email address as well. It's reviews@graphicmedicine.org.
So now if you ever put a book out and you're wondering like, why hasn't Graphic Medicine reviewed it? I wonder, now you know that it's in a pile with 400 other books that want to be reviewed. They just don't have the staff for it.
Right. And I add about 30 books every 3 months to the list, waiting review, and it's great. Books are being published, and there's also other ways to post things on the website too. We're always looking for spotlights for new things that are about to come out and things like that.
Do of the books awaiting review, do you have those as PDFs and you would get to them if we were interested in reviewing them? Or
I can often get the publisher to send a PDF. I do not generally have the PDF initially, but there are some that I might have. Some books are out of print, so I'm also looking at historical books too, and those I would, very unlikely be able to get as a PDF. You might be able to find them still in used bookstores.
or a secret BitTorrent or something.
Right.
Thanks so much. That's a great invitation. And I invite you to either click that link or grab Kevin's email, reviews@graphicmedicine.org, off of the chat. And I'll make sure that goes out in a later email after. Well, thank you everybody for a really, really, really powerful bunch of readings. And all of these, you can tell your friends, all of these will go online in a few days, hopefully, where you can share them again. And I'm really, really moved by not just the stories themselves, but like the interconnectedness of the stories. It's really given me a lot to sit with. I appreciate it. Thanks everybody, and see you at the next event. Good night, or good afternoon, good morning. Bye.